Right, we're back on the F81 build. More bits, so hopefully more progress. This is M3 back bumper, and we'll just show you how it doesn't fit the Touring. So that is nowhere, like the boot won't, sorry Dave, nearly had your fingers off. The boot's way off. The rear light section is just completely off. So, like I think I explained on previous episode, we need to use the top half of the original F31 bumper and then use the lower half of the M3 bumper, which we're going to get into. But I thought I'd quickly show you that. I'll hook that off for safety. And then the other bits we've been doing, we'll come to the front. M3 wing. I was originally going to use the M4 wing, but a few people got in the comments and set me right on the wing. It's virtually the same, but it's different. So the top bit where it mounts here on the A post and where it mounts down here on the side skirt area is different to the coupe. So you can't use the M4 wings, but all the bits, these grill bits and all that, all fit in. And the bottom bit, what fits on there for the side skirt, all fits in off the wing, I think. So,
are we keeping a list of all the things you can't use from your M4?
I think it's basically the whole M4 you can't use. Anyway, so I've got two wings which I bought brand new from BM, so that's sorted that. So we're gonna get, I've been sorting these arches, they're more or less 100% now. Like I said, on the last episode you seen I got that rear panel in, and at the start of the episode,
well, you'll see in a second, because he's already done this.
I've already done this, but
you'll see in a sec what he did.
I've got the inner panel, so that's all in, all cut in, all ready to go. So literally now, and I've got these, remember I was saying about them brace bits, what you bolt all up and glue all in, I've got that all in. So literally in a sec, I'm gonna get this all welded in, that's done, jump on the back bumper, that'll be done, and then I'm gonna, yeah, get it down on its wheels and start the next process. So yeah, should we get into it then? You gonna use this chuck? No, not interested. This one's got a small dent there.
Deep scratches here, mate.
A deep scratch there. It's all good though, it's only going to be sanded down and painted, isn't it? And look what we've got here, ladies and gentlemen. The missing piece to this puzzle, which I was getting stressed about in the last episode, but managed to source this. So BMW told me that this had been basically discontinued. So the shape of that is completely different to the shape of that. And like I said in the last episode, I was planning, because I couldn't get this arch, I was planning on cutting this and bringing it out, but then I was worried that plastic or whatever inner arch isn't going to fit in, and my rear wheels, because obviously the M4 and the M3 wheels are a lot wider. I was worried that it's going to catch and scrape in this, and it weren't going to be the proper job if I kept them original wheel houses. So we've got that now. I'm going to get this in so I can get all these arches kind of tacked and spotted in what needs to be done, and then we're jumping on to other bits what we've got planned in this episode. Virtually the same as I did it around there. I've got to leave this top half in, so I'm going to cut along there so I can get to that bit. I'm going to come down to there, and then, like I said, cut there and leave that original bit in. Do the same, come in 10 or 20 mil, whatever I did on the inside of that, unspot that. You know how it goes if you watch the other episode. If you haven't watched the other episode, it'll explain a lot. All out, ready for the new one to go in. But just to show you the difference between the two wheel houses, which I was saying, that's slightly different to that. I mean, there's different holes in different places. The whole thing is different. But now we're going to do like we did on the other one, chop that, lay that over the top of that. I can mark that up, put the new M3 wheel house in, and that gets that side sorted, and it's in there. This one was a little bit easier because obviously the petrol cap hole, there was less to cut underneath, a little bit less, but yeah, it looks good. So that's ready now to be kind of welded and spotted in. I've got to pull that panel back down because that's where I cut through there. But what I'm going to do now, literally get all the panels all prepped. I'm not going to really show you what I'm going to do, but it's just kind of get a bit of a gap there. Once I get all the panels set to be welded in, I'll show you, because obviously I don't want to bore you with too much because it takes so much time to get it all prepped. But what I am going to do, I've got these panel pieces, these joints, so I'll show you them, get the rest of it prepped so it's ready to be welded in, and yeah, get it all spotted up. So I've whipped the door off on the back, literally undid the bolts, top and bottom there, undid the clip, and then like the check strap, and it literally lifted off, which I wanted because I don't want to make any movement on that door, because that was all lined up nice with the old rear quarter, so I want to kind of keep that as it was so I can line up this new back quarter nicely. So back to this part, I was saying what BMW do, which is a bit you put in, it literally sits behind that panel here, and sits behind there, and then it has these bolts what go onto it, bolt it up, and you bond that all in, kind of stiffens all that joint back up, and then you weld the face up afterwards. So to fit this part, obviously where we cut it first was just at the bottom of that bend, but you need to kind of do this on this flattest part here in the centre. But obviously you've got to watch out, because where the side skirt plastic bits clip in, you need to kind of not be over one of them, because you won't be able to clip that back on again, which is obviously on the new M3 quarter panel piece. So we're going about there, I would say. So I'm going to cut this down now, get that nicely cut, lay the new one over, cut that, do that both sides, and then that's that bit done, because we've got all the rest up there done. So this is the final piece to kind of get right before we start welding everything up. So I'm going to quickly do that both sides, and then we should be there. So you can see what that does now. All I've got to do, notch out a bit on panel to allow that to go that way, same on that one, and that's when the bolts can literally be bolted up. This gets bonded both sides, that gets bolted up, pulls it right up, that goes off, you then undo the bolts, cut them off, then you literally weld down there, that strengthens all that piece up. So that's a proper piece from BMW. So if you are thinking about doing it, it is worth, I think they're like 20 quid, so it's a proper job then. Right, nearly there now.
So just to sort of show you what we mean about where the bumper and the quarter meet around the light, obviously because it is different on the F31. Basically, we've got to come down from that point, just so we can keep in that small section here, so it all flows in nicely with the existing quarter panel, or what's left of it anyway.
Because obviously this is completely different.
Yeah.
Like you can see on that how much that curves out, and this is literally straight.
Yeah, we're basically cut straight down from here, around this body line that you can see, and then all the way down the back. Right then, a little bit of time later, a little bit of furking, lots of marks and lots of wiping off. You know it is, don't you, Stoke?
What's that?
You know what it's like, don't you? When you mark it.
No, I'll do it first time every time.
I've decided to go with some white electrical tape so I can see exactly where I need to cut.
Pinstriping, ain't you, mate?
But essentially, I'm going on the outside of all these lines. That should give us a nice big gap to play with.
And I know what you guys are saying. What the hell are you lot talking about? But trust us,
Yeah.
you'll see, hopefully, if this works off, you'll go, well done lads, you've nailed that. Or no, you've from the start, you've just chatted a load of rubbish and you've cocked it up.
We ain't cocked it up, have we?
Not yet, because we ain't cut anything.
How much is a bumper?
Well, I'm going to do a price breakdown, don't worry, but I paid 100 quid for the M3 back bumper, which I thought was a good price.
Yeah, it's not bad. What about one of these if I mess this up?
I'm not too sure, because I bought that with the car.
It's got to be less than 100 quid though, surely?
I don't know, mate. Yeah, probably. I'd say about the same sort of price.
Yeah. Right, don't mind if I mess it up then.
So it's a £200 mess up.
Well, only if I mess up both.
Anyway, get chopping then, mate. I've given you the okay. I think. Yeah, I think we're alright, aren't we?
That actually was not that scary. It come out alright.
Do you know why?
Took my time, I think.
Yeah, and it's my bumper. I don't know, but that probably makes it even more scary because it's someone else's thing.
The thing is, I've done all my measurements. It wasn't going to get any better than that.
No.
So I had to just cut it, didn't I, at the end of the day. As you can see now, this is a bit better to visualise, obviously, what we were talking about. This end piece actually does come off where it joins onto the rear quarter. Yeah. But we've just left that on for now because we can overlap that.
I'm just going to come over there because you'll see, I think you can more or less see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you can see this body line, and that's what we're trying to, not body line, it is body line, line.
So obviously this, depending on where you look at it, this line almost extends pretty much all the way to the actual rear quarter arch.
Yeah.
Obviously it is a bit different on there, but we want to keep that in as much as possible. What we're going to do now, hopefully, I think, I've got to do the same thing on that bumper.
Opposite way around.
Yeah. So, and then this end bit will actually get cut off for the wider bit on the actual M3 bumper.
Yeah, because we've got a body line in this bumper, but it kind of evaporates.
Yeah, it's.
Does it evaporate or?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. But the problem is now
that line's probably in a completely different position,
so
isn't it?
I've got no reference points. There's nothing between those two bumpers that I can go off and say here's exactly where it's going to be. It's basically going to be probably a lot of measuring. I know my measurements on the old bumper. I've got to kind of translate that onto there.
The only, which I will say to you, the only thing what you can use as a guidance is that there where that goes on to the rear quarter. So if we place the rear quarter on, that would have to marry up to that. That's I think how we're going to do it.
Yep.
Wherever then this bumper then finishes on that bumper, we can then draw a line and two become one.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. Right, while I've been doing all this bumper.
Yeah, I've been. Last week in the episode, it felt like the arches were done. No. I'd got basically halfway through. So all I've been doing now is prepping all the metalwork because there's 3 stages how this gets fixed. We're going to have to kind of MIG plug weld it, we're going to have to spot weld it, and we're going to have to bond it as well. And there's some sort of, where the arch, this arch face meets the outer quarter, that gets glued with like a tiger seal, like a rubberized glue, and that bonds that together. So yeah, the thing I'm going to do now, because we're picking up the spot welding this afternoon, this inner panel I can get in and this can be all welded up and plug welded where I've got to do it. Mainly the outer part then along this section here and along that section there on the outer panel gets spot welded and super duper glued.
Yeah.
What holds Dave's Golf and the Audi Touring.
Is this the colour you've decided to go?
Yeah, it's copper.
I like that actually.
So apparently, if you're wondering, I asked at the paint shop, and this is like, it lets you weld through it and it's like protective all at the same time.
Yeah, so you can get weld through primer obviously, which is just kind of basic primer, but you can get zinc primer and this is copper primer.
Yeah.
It's basically because they're highly conductive and when you weld it, it gives you a good weld basically.
Yeah, and then still protects.
Yeah, and it can still protect the panel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is
the other thing
copper.
I have got, which you'll probably see, I bought a little can of the colour. So once I've got these panels in, I can just blast in little sections what I can get to before it goes to paint. Yeah. To kind of tidy areas up.
Are you you're done your cutting? It's just welding now. Is that where we are at?
Yeah, but it's still like 365 days of welding, I think.
Well, you best crack on then.
Yeah, because we want to see this done, don't we?
Well, as you saw on the other side, followed a similar sort of formula. We've managed to obviously get some measurements basically from where the wheel arch starts to where Stokes has cut on his new panel. So we know that's a known distance from there to there. We can apply that basically to the bumper. But what we're going to do, because obviously this one's wider.
You come bearing gifts?
Because this one's wider, we don't want to cut ourselves too short. What I'm going to do, I'm overcutting our mark by the width of this tape, and we're only cutting down to the parking sensors on the bottom, and we're hoping then that will allow us to basically pretty much overlay that into that, and then we can make our adjustments after that. Right, we've done a little test fitting of the new and the old bumper together. We've got it vaguely where we want it. We have to do a bit of pushing and poking and stuff like that. But basically what we think we've done, it's pretty much where it needs to be, except for down here you've got this body curve basically on the new bumper. But we want to basically interfere with that as little as possible. So this cut that I did initially, it was an overcut anyway because I didn't want to go too short. We think we're going to have to basically take it another 5mm up or 10mm up from the bottom of there.
Because at the minute, like Jack just said about that curve, we're governed by the sensors as well, aren't we?
So we don't want to obviously chop the sensors out, and we are going to chop the rest of the sensors out on the other bumper, but this needs to come up a bit, and then we basically will cut lower again on the M3 bumper.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of a mess around here. Original mark that we told you about, where we've used the quarter panel to gauge that distance, is bang on. Once everything's sort of pushed up and in place, it lines exactly with the tape I've done. So all I've got to do now, trim this end off. We've got a new mark where we want to cut it, just here.
Yeah, because that falls short of that,
yeah,
doesn't it? Because of
so that's got to come out anyway, but we're keeping all that body line in. That's going to cut off. I've got my cut down ready to go, and then roughly where I want to start coming across here. But I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to do my down cut, take out the extra material, we can overlay it again, it should fit better again, and it's going to be a case of that, taking it on and off, overlaying it, double checking it, because we don't want to be making extra repairs we don't want to make.
No, so, and it's looking good, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, when you look at it from like the back,
they can see our plan now, can't they, with it? It's...
But it looks...
I can't, once we get this, there's a bumper overlaid over another bumper, so you can't really see it at the minute, but yeah, it's, I mean, the other thing we've had to remove is the exhaust.
It's in the way.
Because I've got two big cannons coming out the back, basically.
So I'm going to do a load of messing about with this, so I'm just going to get on with some more welding, and then we'll update you in a sec if I've messed up or not, see how good it looks.
Lads and ladies.
Practically there. Only 5% of people who watch us are ladies. Probably less than that actually.
Is that what the analytics
yeah,
is it?
It is mostly lads.
So Jack's now a cable tie technician.
That's how we're going to keep it as well, keep that sort of rat look. Yeah, it's all cut generally where we want it.
Yeah.
Like I say, with the most things I've overcut or undercut, just where we think there might be a bit of manoeuvring needed to be done. Down here, we've made a little trim. So
we even stuck the wheel on, and how ridiculous does that wheel look now in that arch?
You're so excited.
Yeah, I just wanted to see what it looked like with the wheel on.
But believe it or not, my cuts aren't exactly 100% perfect, but I haven't undercut anything as far as we can tell right now.
No.
It needs a little bit more trimming down the bottom so this slots in properly, and then what we're going to do is a bit what do you call it? I don't know what the right word is, but we're going to go around, basically zip tie the whole bumper together.
Tie technician, mate.
Then once that's...
It's what all the drifters do, don't they?
When we're happy with that, obviously then we've got a plastic weld and we've got like the plastic staple things that you can put in. But we're going to get everything exactly where we want it.
The zip tying it is going to allow us to keep the bumper together enough to see, and then we can then lift this back off the car. It will fully hold itself together with the zip ties, and then we're going to hot staple it, glue it, mesh it,
get it strong and
weld
it.
Good, yeah.
So even once all that's done, obviously it is going to have to probably be fillered and stuff in certain places, just to make all the joints and everything as smooth as possible. But it's going to be strong, complete, full hybrid bumper. But I don't think it's too bad. I think it's worth saying. And
we've kept that, like we kept going on about this body line, we've now kept that in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got room now for the exhaust system to come through there underneath the bumper. Obviously, on mine I've got the carbon diffuser section which all clips in, which that'll all go in there. But obviously the boot shuts correctly because you're using the top part of that bumper. But yeah, it's looking good.
It's going to look really good. It's hard to still visualise with the black and the zip ties and all this kind of stuff, but you can see just looking down there, it's going to look an absolute beast, isn't it?
The wheel sits so far in to the
Yeah. You got like a fist, didn't you?
yeah. It just shows you how much more that's brought out. I am still plodding along, welding this all up, but I keep having to stop to get this bumper chucked on to give Jack a hand with that. So,
but you don't want to see loads of welding.
No.
Essentially, you're going to end up looking like this, aren't you?
Yeah, but just
it's going to be
welded
all
up.
solid in place.
Yeah, they know what it's going to look like. So, yeah, we're going to carry on, get this bumper more or less 100%, so we're happy with it, and yeah, we can then keep carrying on.
Keep going. Just
keep going.
Carry on.
Bumper has come out better than I expected.
Yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
Jack has done a real good job of marking everything up. This is what I kind of had in my head, and we've pulled it off, I think.
Somehow.
I know it's all cable tied up at the minute, but like I explained before, we can now take this bumper off and literally stitch it all at the back, glue it all, and plastic weld, whatever we want to do. But these cable ties are holding it in place, and we can fill up the holes and everything like that. Whilst we've been busy as well, we thought before we take everything back apart and I finish off welding these quarter panels in, I needed to get kind of everything back on the car. The boot isn't shut because I can't open it if I shut it, so that isn't fully down at the minute. We've dropped the back lights in. We just dropped the rear door back on so I can check all my gaps and that before I can move stuff about before I spot all that in. So yeah, I think now we're good to go. I'm going to carry on grafting these quarters back in. There ain't much left now, but we're not going to bore you with that. Jack's going to finish off doing this back bumper, but for today's episode we've kind of run out of time. But yeah, I've dropped the front wing on, like I mentioned at the start of the episode. The M3 wings are slightly different, which couple of subscribers said they're slightly different on the M4. So
unfortunately,
yeah, unfortunately.
For you.
But I can sell my ones.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But yeah, got these brand new from BM, so they'll be painted with the car. Talking about paints, what should we do with paint? Do you think keep it red, go a different colour, go pink? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? We've got copper on here. Should we go copper colour?
If you've got some suggestions and you know the actual name of the paint colour,
yeah,
drop it in the comments and we can have a look into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if you just say blue, there's millions of blues.
Yeah.
If you know there's a nice colour in a certain car or whatever, just let us know.
My M4 is Yasmarina blue. I think it looks great on the M4. But I have Googled it and people have done Yasmarina blue in the estates and I don't think it looks right.
No, there's something...
Yeah, I think certain colours work with certain shapes of cars.
Yeah. We're not going to go black either.
No.
Black's too dark. It doesn't...
The reason I don't really want to go black, if you look at pictures, black M3s, black M4s, I think they don't show... I'm not dissing anyone who's got a black M3 or a black M4, but personally, in my opinion, it doesn't show the manliness of
all the lines and
all the body lines, the big kind of bits on it.
Get in the comments whatever you think. If there's something like a colour, obviously we wouldn't even thought of. We'll have a look into everything. We're open to all ideas. Also, Stokes, if anyone's got a driver's side.
I need a driver's side skirt. I can get one from BM, brand new, which I'll probably end up getting. It doesn't matter what colour it is.
The other side's green. So.
Yeah, the other side's green. It can't be snapped in half, don't get me wrong. I can't fix that. But I'm probably going to end up going and getting one from BM. Yeah. And then I've got that side skirt.
If anyone's got one or whatever, just
or your mate's got
just
one.
message us on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah. Or you find one somewhere, send me the link for it.
Yeah.
And I'll grab that. So, yeah, for this week, I know I'm still messing about with the rear arches, but it's a big job.
You've got to get it right as well, isn't it?
Yeah, got to get it right. But now we've got the rear arches sorted and we've got that back bumper sorted. So we're going to plod on now, get them all nice and dandy. And then the next stage is I've got to tackle this wiring loom. There's stuff I've got to get all the running gear off it. So yeah, in the next episode, there's more bits to go on, M3 wise. So kind of got to do them bits before then I start taking apart the M4 to get all the running gear over. So yeah, get in the comments because it helps us out and we love chatting with people. As you know, I like chatting. So yeah, follow, like, share and subscribe and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yep. See you next week.
Yep.